Discussion keeps the world turning.
This is Roundtable.
You're listening to Roundtable. I'm Niu Honglin, joined by Yushan and Fei Fei. Coming up soon, we've spent years worrying about the pressure students face in the classroom. But what if the solution wasn't less pressure, but a different kind of pressure? The Class Super League introduces kids to the high-stakes environment of competition, but it does so in a way that rewards bravery over perfection. Can a football match teach a child more about failing better? And in most homes, televisions are made for families sitting together in the living room. Now, TVs in some houses are made for the dogs and cats on the couch. Is this purely a niche phenomenon, or does it reflect a deeper shift in how people live, work, and relate to their pets in modern urban life? Roundtable invites you to find out with us. But before that, this spring, something exciting is happening on school playgrounds across China. From Beijing to Xi'an in northwest China's Shanxi province, more students are heading to the field. In a wave of high-energy Class Super League matches, kids are running, passing, cheering, and discovering something bigger than just football. Confidence, teamwork, resilience, all unfolding in real time, right there on the grass. So what's really driving this movement? What is Class Super League? And can this really help children grow, learn, and connect?
Well, I think when it comes to Class Super League, well, it's not just about football matches.
Ooh, more games.
Yeah, it can cover a range of sports. For example, it can be basketball matches or volleyball, or some schools are also offering swimming competitions or even kicking jians, the shuttlecocks. So it depending on the schools and the cities, but basically the Chinese name for it is called Banchao Class Super League. It's sort of an initiative that schools sports is offering to all students, not just a bunch of really good players on the campus, which I think in the past, in most schools in the past, is like some really elite very competent players are able to compete really on the ground. Maybe only 11 students are selected to a school team, but now they're encouraging every student participate in at least one sort of team competition each semester.
I don't understand. Previously in my generation, we do have PE classes. We also learn these different sports. We have tests. Different types of tests. We do push-ups. Well, boys do push-ups. Girls do sit-ups. And also we do also have these kind of sports matches. The matches sometimes is school-based, meaning that each and every, I think, class would select athletes from the class and attend the school sports game. And we also have city games in the sense that, well, that's the situation Fei Fei has just described. That is, you select the real athletes from the entire school to attend those kind of competitions. So what's new this time? Why is this making a buzz on the internet?
Well, I think it's first of all more inclusive. For me, when I was a student, I'm the person who is sitting by, on the outskirts of any kind of sports competition out there. I won't be involved simply because I'm not so good at it. But right now with this Class Super League, the Banchao, all schools and basically all of the city, they're trying to involve as many students as possible. If you're not really a good soccer player, maybe try basketball. If basketball is not your thing, maybe try swimming, or even just kicking jianzi would also be an option for you. So I would say it's more inclusive, and also it runs a little longer than simply, for example, we have this kind of sports event every semester, but it's more about 1 or 2 day event. But now it can last for a whole month or even longer than that. So it sort of guarantee you that you as a student, no matter what kind of sports you are interested in, or whether you are good at any sport at all, you can get the chance of getting into the playground, be part of a matches, and winning or losing, it doesn't really matter, but you guaranteed a certain period of time of your day out to actually get active and get physical.
Yeah, I really like how you concluded, Fei Fei, because that's also how I feel. We've been talking about PE class for at least 2-3 times on Roundtable in the past year, and what I see is that a progressive kind of movement that's getting more kids involved in the first place, but also here, as we see Banchao happening, it's pushing this whole movement to a competitive side of PE because previously if it's about we're enhancing the education for PE teachers, or we're hiring more coaches when it comes to sports for the primary and secondary school kids, but now it's like we want the kids to get competitive. We want them to enjoy sports and competing against each other.
I find it very funny because right before the show, we talked about the fact that for my generation, usually every week we get 1 or 2 PE classes, meaning that you got around 80 minutes of PE classes the entire week. And of course, you have the breaks between different classes. You can go run around, but that's for those who really love sports. For me, I would just sit in my seat and chat with my friends. So that was the situation. So I was kind of like thinking, nowadays kids have at least 1 or 2 classes, PE classes every single day. Every single day, they must go out and enjoy, quote unquote, depending on your personality, the outdoor activity for around 1 hour or even 2 hours. So I was thinking, this is a way for the PE teachers to get creative so they can have something to fill out the content of their classes, because they are having so many more classes and they're running out of content. And this really is a good way. And if you think about the situation here in Beijing, education authorities say that the league, the class super league, will host around 400,000 competitions in 2026, with participation expected to exceed 10 million students and across primary and secondary schools. So the scale is definitely also quite impressionable.
And when it comes to, getting students out there, getting them active, because my daughter is right now a primary school student, and they do have that quote unquote infrastructure, meaning they do have, I think, 1 hour, more than 1 hour of going outdoors, doing some kind of exercises. But she, as a 10-year-old, is not that sporty. So when I checked on her, what do you do on your PE classes? I mean, do your teacher assign you any tasks to do? And she said, we would be told to running on the tracks for about 4 or 5 rounds of that tracks, but after 2 we'll just stop and we're just walking on that playgrounds and then just chatting with my friends. I was like, that's not very active. That's not the purpose of the PE class, I would imagine. But there isn't much that she's interested in. So she would take PE classes as an opportunity of chatting with her friends, walking around, which is not very active from my perspective. She's a 10-year-old. Walking is definitely not a sport. But I'm not really sure how to get her involved in the sports
Super
itself.
League.
Yeah. So I think this is the method of involving these kind of not really sure what they're doing, just walking around, chatting on the playground students.
I think it's because a lot of the kids, including your daughter, as you described her, Fei Fei, they just haven't really find a sport
that they love,
that they can dive into and really enjoy. Because we're still right now, at least at the stage where educators and government officials really comes to the point that elites means that idea of becoming or cultivating elites mean not only good grades, and good grades is far from enough. We need a holistic development in these kids, and PE is something that should be promoted.
And this, we're talking about it because it's getting a bit more national these days. But for some certain provinces, some certain cities and schools, they've been doing it for quite a while, and they're gaining results. They are looking at kids getting much more active, and they are also up-leveling their game. I noticed in one school, one thing very funny happening is that because they have been hosting this kind of class-based football matches, they've even implanted certain kind of smart gadgets in the playground so that all of the moves, the strategies being used by the team of that class can be recorded, and they can even reflect the data real time adjacent to the playground. So kids they would have this feeling that they're not playing around. It's very professional. They get to see the angle of one ball they're kicking out, whether or not they're doing a good job, where to improve the next time. I don't know if they can be future superstars in football, but the experience is real, and the excitement and the fun and the fact that they feel like they're professional athletes, not just primary school kids running around in the playground. So that is also quite important, giving them the real holistic and entire kind of experience.
I think that's basically the fun of any sports, really.
Right,
when
the
you
sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, and also when you check on any sports fan out there, no matter they're in football, basketball, volleyball, ping pong, whatever, they are really in for the competitive edge of all these kind of competitive sports. Who is winning, who is losing, what kind of strategies are they using, what's your advantages, what are my disadvantages, and how can I plan this strategically so I'm still on the winning side. And I think that's the fun of any sport. But currently, when we are talking about PE classes, teaching football, basketball is more, it's sort of taking that competitive side out of that sport.
They're teaching them the skills, giving them different sessions so that they can practice. It's a training session rather than a competition.
So it's not fun from a children's point of view, you know.
No.
Just shooting the balls to a goal without a goalkeeper is definitely not making soccer fun.
Yeah, that is why for those schools that have already been doing this for several years, kids are enjoying it. They're not only playing the class Super League, they're also actively practicing during class breaks. They're running out so that their little teammates can practice together so they can perform better the next one. And there have been other achievements as well. For example, again, here in Beijing, in the first half of 2025, 99.7%, that's a really high percentage. 99.7% of Beijing's primary and secondary schools had various class-based competitions, a total of 194,000 matches with around 5 million students participating as well. And we talked about this year, 2026, we're hoping that 10 million students would participate. It is already arranged. And we're looking also at other parts of school life being improved because of better percentage of students actively engaged in sports activities.
And I'm going to take this topic on a little bit of a detour, but it's something really interesting that I observed in the past few months. You know, sometimes when you see advertisement on kids' products, especially when it comes to shoes and smartwatches for children nowadays, I noticed something really interesting is that they tend to promote their design, especially when it comes to outdoor gears. Like for shoes, our shoes are especially designed for children to navigate the nature steadier. And this is waterproof so that the kids can go mountaineering safely along with their parents. And kids, you see those kids in the advertisement, they're skiing, they're doing mountaineering. And what I really found fascinating is the fact that girls are doing it together with boys. Now, all three of us sitting here are ladies, and we've all more or less expressed how we kind of want to escape to PE class, or that is not for us. But nowadays, as we see Ban Chao promoting that kind of, even I'm not sure if I'm putting it correctly, the aggressiveness in sports among kids, both for the girls and for the boys, I think we're really kind of shifting on an idea here that girls, when it comes to sports, shouldn't be expected to do any less. And everybody, boys and girls, can have the right to rest if they feel like it. And girls running outside, getting all sweaty and getting all muddy and enjoying sports like their male peers is something that should be encouraged, and that is not a sign of any sort of quote-unquote masculinity anymore. And I really enjoy this kind of phenomenon that our younger generation seem to be enjoying nowadays. As you mentioned, 99.7% of the schools here in Beijing are practicing out on that, and it's really worth celebrating. And of course, kids nowadays, we grow up seeing the success and the medal earning points of Eileen Gu, of Chen Hongchan, and Sun Yingshan. You know, I'm naming the celebrated female athletes here in China, and yeah, these are all great role models for all our kids out there to cultivate this interest and passion for sports ever since a young age.
Yeah, that's the kid's perspective. And from a mom's perspective, I've recently learned that before the age of 12, a certain part in your brain is still very actively developing, and a very important element in the developing stage is exercising. You have to do different types of exercising for that part to really develop to a stage that is beneficial to the entirety of your life, making sure that you can focus, you can stay in the stage of focusing and learning for long enough time, and you have the ability to sit there and concentrate on the content, no matter if you're reading or you're listening, and all that have something to do with enough outdoor time, enough exercise in your life. So this can really and by saying this, I mean such activities can really impact students' performance in academic performances and their lifelong development. And we also know that such activities can and in a lot of cases have already impacted students' school life.
Yeah, for example, I think students getting into, first of all, in any sort of collective sports event, they will learn how to do teamwork.
Oh, that's also very important.
Yeah, that's very important these days in particular, is that no matter what kind of matches you are in, there will be, you need to plan your role, and you need to accept your role and know what your role is supposed to do in your team. And also, I think a school in Xiamen, they're also designing students to take on the jobs like announcers, referees, so you know that
different roles in a match.
Yes, there are different roles in a match, and each role is important. It's not just about the star. And also, it's also about resilience, accepting you will fail along somewhere along the line. You will meet failure. It's okay. It's also very nice to be winning from time to time, but you will also fail, and it's okay.
Yes. Yeah. So I think the conclusion is simple. Class Super League, super cool. Let's continue doing it. You're listening to Roundtable. Coming up next, let's find out why Chinese tech giant launches 24/7 channel for pets. Stay tuned.
Looking for passion? How about fiery debate? Want to hear about current events in China from different perspectives? Then tune in to Roundtable, where East meets West and understanding is the goal.
This is Roundtable with me, Yushan, and Fei Fei. As a pet owner, Yushan, would you subscribe to a pet specialized TV channel and leave the TV on 24/7 for your cats?
Yes.
Really?
Without a doubt. Yes. Do you know
what's on the channel?
Do you guys have any idea how hard it is to get your pet
Happy?
not, occupied, not sitting there and sleeping and have nothing to do all day long when you are not at home and there's nothing else that he or she can interact with.
Oh, I thought the pet can find their own joy, their own way.
Yes, and they're living in a place where they have water, they have food, they have a lot of toys they can play with, then they can watch birds. That's something cats do. Why do they need a pet-focused streaming channel? What's on that channel?
I think what you're mentioning is the recent promotion from Chinese tech giant Tencent Video. It is the creator of the Pet TV, China's first streaming channel curated specifically for dogs and cats. Launched on March 20th, the channel is really available to the platform's only VIP subscribers, apparently, and is costing roughly 25 yuan or $3.6 per month. And it features videos for specific dog breeds, including Labradors, Pugs, and Cavalier King Charlie Spaniels. And so
are they selecting the programs for human and play them for pets, like pet-related program, or are they shooting something new?
Like a dog-themed TV series? I'm not sure.
I think that's really something for the pets to watch. I think it includes different types of lights. For example, the Tencent Video stated that the widespread adoption of their LED and OLED screens means that cats can see images more clearly through their live stream, according to the company. Moving images of birds, fish, and various electronic cat toys featuring yellow and blue help cats to track on-screen content really accurate. So that's something sounds like I can become a customer of, to be honest.
So we're not only talking about the kind of content that are selected for cats, but also the content that are tailor-made for different pets.
Breeds,
different breeds, and mainly different breeds in cats and dogs, because they accept or they can recognize the different types of wave, and they can listen to different frequencies other than human.
Yeah, I think for dogs, for example, I think I read somewhere that dogs can only see fewer colors, mainly in
cats
blues
too.
and yellows.
Right.
So when it comes to, for example, the images put on these channels could be adjusted accordingly. And when it comes to cats, I think they are very more sensitive compared to human to a lot of movements. So fast, naturalistic motions can capture their attention. And also when it comes to sounds, I think different animals have different reactions to higher pitch noise or natural sound, can also stimulate or calm their emotions.
So not only do I have to compete with my kids for the remote control, now I have to compete with my cat.
Exactly. I think that's exactly what's going on in one of our colleagues' home. She has a cat, and she downloads videos that's under the title Cat TV on Bilibili, and she plays it on her iPad for her cat every time she goes back home. And sometimes when she goes back home, the cat is already waiting next to the iPad. You know, it's a way of showing I want to watch TV now. Turn it on.
Okay, so now I have to ask, do you think this is something that is really helping the animals in the homes? Because we know, yes, they're domestic animals, but they do have different personality, cat-tonality or dog-nalities. So some of them might enjoy social life a bit more. But do you think we are doing this really helping them? Or do you think it's basically something that people do so they feel better about leaving their pets home alone?
Both. From the pets perspective, I think more for the dogs than for the cats, because people, they get, especially for urban dwellers, we get out and go to work and leave them staying at home for a long time. And also, according to a survey conducted by Tencent Video, really 66% of dog owners reported leaving the TV on for their dogs when they go out, and that's proved to be helpful. So yeah, certainly just make sure they're not just sitting there and feeling depressed and lonely and missing you, and that they have something fun to interact with.
This is not something only happening here in China. There's a dog TV that has launched in California in 2012. Apparently, pet owners all around the world are dying to find different ways to make their pets happier. So, let us know, what would you do? Would you subscribe to a pet TV? I'm Niu Honglin with Fei Fei and Yushan. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.